device or instrument which is fitted on a top of a pipe, that is the windpipe, that is called the trachea. And this is not the only instrument for the production of the voice, that is called the phonation, but it is also the part of the respiratory system, and it is also made up for the respiration, that is the inspiration as well as the expiration. So we will discuss the larynx under the headings of cartilages, membranes and the ligaments, the muscles of the larynx with their nerve supply, and nerve supply of the larynx as a whole, and last is the applied knot. So this box is made up of the various cartilages, which are made up of the hyaline cartilages. Some are elastic and the fibrous cartilages too. There are two categories. One is called the unpaired cartilages, and other they are the paired cartilages. So there are three paired and three unpaired. You have to remember the names. Unpaired, they are the thyroid cartilage, cricoid cartilage, leaf-like epiglottis, the lid of the inlet of the larynx. The paired, they are, names are arytenoid cartilage, corniculate cartilage, and cuneiform cartilage. So they are the paired cartilages. We will take one by one and we will compile them together, and we will construct a voice box that is called the larynx. So 3 times required to understand the various cartilages. One is called the thyroid cartilage. So thyroid means, what is the meaning of thyroid? Shield-like. Gland as well as the cartilages both are shield-like structures, and it is having the two large parts which are called the laminas, and they are joined together, and this part is prominent in the male, that is called the Adam's apple, because the angle between the two laminas of the thyroid cartilage is less than 90 degrees in the male. In the female it is more than 90 degrees. So it is almost flat and insignificant and not visible in the female. So that is the reason, that is the, in the male it is less than 90 degree, in the female it is more than 90 degree. That forms the prominence, that is called the Adam's apple. So this is the thyroid cartilages. So this is the angulated, and this is the Adam's apple. The prominence of the two laminas are there, and this is the other parts are superior border, inferior border, and these are the two lateral borders. Superiorly it is pointed and it looks like the horn of the sheep or the goat, that is called the superior horn, and this is called the inferior horn. This is the lamina. It contains a oblique line for the attachment of various muscles. We have done the infrahyoid muscles, sternothyroid and thyroid, plus the constrictor muscle also attached to it. So this is the thyroid cartilage. This is the anterior view. Just above the thyroid cartilage, not the part of the larynx, but it is attached to the larynx or the voice box, is the hyoid bone. We have already done with the body, greater and the lesser cornu. So this is the hyoid bone, lesser cornu and the greater cornu, and center is the body of the hyoid bone. So this is the anterior view of the thyroid cartilage. Then back side, if you see from posterior side, so the posterior view of the thyroid cartilage. Same are the descriptions of it. That is the superior and the inferior horn, as well as the lamina is visible. Internally, the inner surface of this thyroid lamina is lined by the mucous membrane, which is a respiratory mucosa, that is the pink color ciliated columnar epithelium. Same that we have done in the nasal cavity. But outside, it is not having any mucous membrane. So this is the posterior view. Then we have to see the lateral view also. So this is the lateral view of the thyroid cartilage, the Adam's apple, inferior border, inferior horn, superior horn. With the oblique line, the lateral view. The second is the cricoid cartilage. So cricoid means ring shape, signet ring. As there is a stone in the broad part of the ring is having this stone. Same is here, but the narrow portion of the ring lies anteriorly, and this is called the arc of the cricoid cartilage. The lower border of the cricoid cartilage is the start of the two pipes. Anteriorly the windpipe or the trachea, and posteriorly the esophagus or the food pipe. So both lies in front and back. So all start from the lower border of the thyroid, this cricoid cartilage. So this is the anterior view of the cricoid cartilage. If we see posteriorly, posterior part is broad, and this broad part is called the lamina. Same, this is also lamina, this is also lamina. And in the midline, there is a raised area of the cricoid cartilage on the posterior surface. And laterally, there is a depression. This is the fossa for the origin of the muscles. And superior border is having laterally concavity. The articular facet is there, concave, which are concave in shape. And lower lateral part of the lamina of the cricoid cartilage is continuous with the arc of the cricoid cartilage, which goes anteriorly to form a complete ring. So this is the how ring. The broad portion of the ring is lying posteriorly, the narrow portion lies anteriorly. Same when we see the lateral view. This is the lateral view of the cricoid cartilage, and here lies a articular facet. For articulation of the inferior horn of the thyroid cartilage will fit here to form a synovial variety of the slightly movable synovial joint. So there are two types of synovial joint: freely movable and slightly movable. So they are the all joints in the larynx, they are slightly movable joints. So this is how the inferior horn articulates with the articular facet of the this cricoid cartilage, which is a narrow anterior, and posterior part of the this lamina of the cricoid cartilage is broad. Then next comes the epiglottis. Same, the hyoid bone seen from the anterior surface. Anterior view, this is the posterior view of the hyoid bone with the greater cornu, lesser, and the body anteriorly. The lateral view is this of the hyoid bone. Then third is the epiglottis. So epiglottis is leaf-like. Anterior surface of leaf-like is like this. The upper border of the epiglottis is free. These are two lateral borders. And inferior it becomes narrow like the narrow part of a leaf. What is the narrow part of the leaf in the called in the botany? Pedicel or petiole? So here in the anatomy also we call it a petiole. Petiole of epiglottis because it is also a leaf-like structure. Anterior surface of the epiglottis is rough. Why it is rough? It is because of the various attachment we will do later on. So it is a rough surface, anterior. All are anterior surface. When you go in the back, so posterior surface is smooth because it is lined by mucous membrane that is called the ciliated columnar epithelium in the lower two-thirds. Is the ciliated columnar epithelium. So it is all pink. Pink means ciliated columnar epithelium is lining inside the epiglottis. And in the center there are 2 or 3 pits are present. These pits they contain the mucous membrane, the mucus secretion gland. So these glands they lubricate the surface of the epiglottis and a thin film of the mucus fluid is present over the mucous membrane of the petiole or this epiglottis. The upper surface, free border of this epiglottis is lined by non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium. Non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium covers the upper part. It is paler. Lower is dark. So this pale area is because of the different type of the covering or the epithelium. Same our skin is containing. What is skin contains? Keratinized stratified squamous epithelium. That is also called epithelium of friction. Where in the human body there is a chances of the friction is there, the God has given us the keratinized or non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium. That friction will wither off the upper layers of the stratum corneum, stratum lucidum, all you know the 5 layers of the epidermis. Same is here. So when we take the food sometimes touches the anterior and the posterior surface of the epiglottis. So if there would have been ciliated epithelium, we got the cough reflex and the food may be vomited out. So that's why the upper 1/3 is only given the non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium. So that is the reason why it is so. Then the lateral view of the epiglottis is like this. Posterior surface is rough. Upper is the stratified squamous epithelium. This much is this. So that is the lateral view of the all unpaired cartilages. You should make the diagram. So whenever a question comes, you have to make these 3 diagrams: anterior, posterior, as well as the lateral view. Then you got the full marks. Now come the paired one. So one is called the arytenoid cartilage. So paired arytenoid cartilages, they are 2 in and they are triangular or pyramidal shape. Their shape is like the pyramids. So upper end is called apex. Lower end of the arytenoid cartilage is called the base. Base is convex and this will fit here in the concavity of lamina of cricoid cartilage. So it forms a joint here also. So it is lower end is convex, it is concave. It has got a medial border. It has got a medial border which are far away from each other and a lateral border, apex and base. So they are the part of the what is called arytenoid cartilages. And it is also having in the later part a fossa for the attachment of muscles. So above the lamina of the cricoid cartilage, so this is the two arytenoid cartilage. Lateral part of the base of the arytenoid cartilage is called muscular process. Muscular process because muscles are attached here. So this lateral part, this is the base of the lamina or this arytenoid cartilage, this is the apex, the base. So base is called the muscular process because various muscles are attached here. When we see the posterior surface, anterior surface, so anterior surface is the same, medial border, the layered one. So there is a fossa, so this is it. The posterior surface of the same paired cartilage, that is the arytenoid cartilage, in the lower medial part has got a conical bony cartilaginous process, conical, and this is called vocal process. So where it is present? Posteriorly. Sorry, this is the anteriorly. So anteriorly the vocal process, and this is the posterior view. Posterior view is only having the flat, and this is the having the fossa. So this is the, we are touching the posterior surface is flat. On its anterior surface, it has got a, in the lower medial part, there is a projection that is called the vocal process. And when we see the lateral view of arytenoid cartilage, this is how we see here. This is the vocal process. This is the conical vocal process. Then the corniculate and cuneiform, they are very small paired cartilages, and comma shape is the corniculate and cup shape is the cuneiforms. So they are smaller ones, and they are fitted on the apex of arytenoid cartilage. So they are three paired cartilages. So this is how we study them in the different views. Now we will construct the larynx. We will compile all these cartilages together, and a instrument will be formed. A device is created. For that we want the membranes and various ligaments which joins these cartilages together. So let us join them and let us see what is now formed. Now we join this inferior horn with the articular facet on the cricoid cartilage. So we will lift it up, and here the anterior arc of the cricoid cartilage is fitted. So here the inferior horn is fitted on this cricoid cartilage. So a joint is created. And now below we take the trachea, the windpipe. We fit this on the trachea, which is having C-shaped cartilaginous ring, C-shape, which makes the windpipe or the trachea non-collapsible tube. In any position of the neck, our trachea remains patent, and there is no obstruction in the airways. It is only because of this C-shape. They are present anteriorly, laterally, but they are deficient posteriorly. Because posteriorly there lies the esophagus, and esophagus is a distensible organ. Whenever we take the food, it increases. So if there would have been cartilage in front of the esophagus, how the food can go down? So that's why the cartilage, they are absent posteriorly. So this is how we have put the articulated thyroid and the cricoid cartilage on the windpipe. Now how it looks anteriorly. Now posteriorly, now here we fit upward, or here we fit in the upper portion, the lateral R. So when lift it up, so here it is fitted. So that is how. And it is held by the cricothyroid ligament of this joint. So it is held together by the joint. Fibrous capsule is there. So the two becomes inseparable. In the posterior view, we also, after articulation, how it looks. Posterior view of the larynx. So this is the lamina now articulate. And posterior view of the trachea, the windpipe also looks, and there is only the posterior part is only this much. So this the cartilaginous ring is deficient. This is the first cartilaginous ring of the trachea. So it doesn't have got a posterior part. So cartilage rings, they end posteriorly and lateral, near the lateral border. And instead of H, here lies the muscle, which is the muscle of the trachea, is called trachealis. So this muscle of trachea is called trachealis. In the lateral view, so cartilage rings, they are present anterolaterally, but they are only deficient posteriorly. Now articulate the arytenoid cartilages. So here it was convex, this is concave, so we fit the arytenoid cartilages here. The medial border is separated. And this is the muscular process of the base. And above us, the corniculate and cuneiforms. So they are compiled above it. And the petiole of the epiglottis also, we bring it down. And it is attached to the inner angle of the thyroid cartilage, and it is fixed by the fibrous tissue. The petiole is fixed to the inner surface of lamina of the thyroid cartilage. So this is called the thyroepiglottic ligament. This is called, so we are doing the next part, the membranes and ligament. So first is the thyroepiglottic ligament, which fixes the petiole of the epiglottis with the thyroid cartilage. In the lateral view also, the petiole is attached a little bit below the midpoint of the node part. Dotted means it is inside. So this is the point of petiole here, just below the midpoint of the lamina. And posterior surface is smooth, mucous membrane, and upper is. So this is how we compile the all paired and unpaired cartilages, and we have constructed a voice box that is for the larynx. So that is how we have done all of them. Now with the various other ligaments and membranes, so air should enter directly and there should be no leakage of air anywhere. So in order to make the larynx and the air pathways air free and air proof, so various membranes are present. So one is attached to the lower border of the hide bone and the upper border of thyroid cartilage. So a membrane is present between the hide bone and the thyroid cartilage superior border, which is attached here. And above it attached to the greater cornu and lower border of body of hide bone. This membrane is called thyroid membrane. Thyroid membrane. The lateral border of the thyroid membrane becomes thick. Lateral border of this thyroid membrane is thickened sometime, and it is also sometimes called thyroid ligament. And sometimes a small cartilage develops into it, middle of it. If it develops, it is called the triticate cartilage. So this membrane is called thyroid membrane and triticate cartilage develops in some of the cases. Then the gap between the thyroid cartilage and the cricoid cartilage is also closed by a membrane that is called the cricothyroid membrane. Names are suggestive. In the median part, this cricothyroid membrane becomes thick and having elastic fibers. The median part of this is the cricothyroid membrane. So sometimes median part is thicker, is called the conus elasticus. Conus elasticus, which gives the attachment to the vocal cords. Similarly, the gap between the upper end of the trachea and the lower border of the cricoid cartilage is also closed by a membrane, cricotracheal membrane. Cricotracheal membrane. It is circumferential, attached to the upper border of the first cartilaginous ring of the trachea and lower border of the cricoid cartilage. So it goes all around, so it is called circumferential attachment. So here is the lower border of the thyroid cartilage and this is the upper border of the cricoid. So this is the conus elasticus. Conus elasticus, and this whole is the cricothyroid membrane. The lateral view. This is the lateral view of the cricotracheal membrane, which is circumferential and complete. So this is how we compile them together, cartilages along with the trachea, and here is also a slightly movable synovial joint is formed between the arytenoid and the superior border of the lamina of cricoid cartilage. So here rotatory movements of the arytenoid cartilage is possible, and sliding movements are also present. So arytenoid cartilage may come closer or they rotate clockwise or anti-clockwise. So both rotatory as well as the sliding movements are possible in the cricoarytenoid joint. Again, slightly movable joint. Then these smaller cartilages, they are also joined by the fibrous capsule. All are together. So here we can put the concavity of the upper border of the lamina of the cricoid cartilage. Here we can compile the arytenoid cartilage, and this is the vocal process. The posterior surface is flat, both lamina as well as this. So this is how the posteriorly they are flattened. So we compile all of them with the various ligaments and two very important membranes. They are present in the larynx. One is called quadrangular or quadrate membrane. Quadrate or quadrangular. 4 angles. Quadrangular membrane having 4 angles means quadrate. And that membrane is the quadrate membrane. Another membrane is cricovocal membrane. Cricovocal membrane. So first we is the quadrate membrane. So quadrate membrane is a vertical membrane of the larynx, and the other name of this membrane is epiglottic membrane. Epiglottic membrane. Airy means arytenoid, epiglottis. So name are suggestive. So its attachment is number 1, lower lateral border of the epiglottis, because it is airy epiglottic membrane from arytenoid cartilages to the epiglottis. So where it is attached? Lower lateral border of the epiglottis. This is lower lateral border. Up to the petiole and also below the petiole. A little bit below the petiole. Lateral border of. And a little bit below the petiole attachment. So it is here attached to the inner lamina angle of the thyroid cartilage. Then this membrane, the upper free border. So this is the attached border. The upper free border of this quadrangular membrane is attached to the cricoid, the corniculate and the cuneiform, plus the apex of arytenoid cartilage. In the lateral view it is more clear. This is the posterior free border, and free border includes the both corniculate and cuneiform and attached to the posterior surface of arytenoid cartilage except vocal process. So this is the attachment of quadrangular membrane. Then it has got a lower free border also. From the attachment to the thyroid cartilage, from here, it goes posteriorly. From here, it goes posteriorly. And it attached to this lower part of arytenoid cartilage is near the muscular process. So here, from here, this point, it goes laterally. The lateral muscular part of base of the arytenoid cartilage. So from here to here, again it has got a lower free border. So this is the lower free border. This is the posterior free border. This is the attached border. So if you only remove the quadrangular membrane, how it looks? See, 4 angles, 1, 2, 3 and 4. That's why it's called the quadrangular or quadrate membrane. So its lower free border is called the vestibular fold. Vestibular fold. And this vestibular fold forms the vestibule of the laryngeal cavity. So if we cut the coronal section of the laryngeal cavity, then this quadrangular membrane is cut like this. And this quadrangular membrane, this is the quadrangular membrane, this one. And internally it is lined by same pink mucus or mucosa of the larynx internally. So this lower free border of the quadrant membrane also covered by the mucous membrane, and it forms a vestibule. This is called the vestibule. This is a pipe-like structure. Has the vestibule of internal ear, saccule, vestibule, semicircular canal. So its shape is like this. That's why its lower free border covered by mucous membrane is called vestibular fold. And this whole of this upper free border of the epiglottis, lateral border of the epiglottis, and this airy epiglottic fold, the upper free border of this quadrangular membrane, along with this is the internal fibrous tissue here. So this whole structure is called the laryngeal inlet. So air goes from here into the trachea down, but it has to pass between the two folds of vestibular folds. So vestibular folds, they are quite separated. During inspiration and expiration they becomes more wider. So that is the vestibular fold. They are also called respiratory folds, because they regulate the inhalation and the expiration. Vestibule. Then another, and this, whenever any foreign body, any foreign particle try to go inside, first it touches the ciliated columnar epithelium, we got the cuff reflex. Or when it touches here anywhere, then what happens? The two folds of these, they closes like this. So laryngeal inlet is closed by epiglottis folds on itself. That's why it's called the lid of the larynx, because muscles are present, smooth muscles are present in the wall of the airy epiglottic membrane, or what is called quadrangular membrane. So during respiration they are widely open, so that more and more oxygen should go and CO2 comes out. So they are separated, and lower end is vestibule. Then the cricovocal membrane, it is a horizontal membrane, and it is a hammock-like. What is hammock? You might have seen on the roadside they are selling the hammock. From the two trees there is a one slide is there. So see the shape, is not flat. So when a person sit over here, it becomes hammock-like. Same is the cricovocal membrane. It is hammock-like. So its attachment like quadrangular membrane. So it is called the cricovocal membrane. So it is all attached to the cricoid cartilage. So cricoid cartilage, we know it is a ring-shaped cartilage. It is a ring-shaped cartilage. And the anterior arc of this cricoid cartilage, the upper border of this arc is having two lips, outer lip, outer one, and one is inner lip. So this cricovocal membrane is attached to the inner lip of the upper border of the cricoid cartilage, inner lip. Outer lip is for the attachment of some muscle. So it is attached to the inner lip of the whole superior border of this arc of the cricoid cartilage. So that is called the cricovocal membrane. So this membrane goes medially from the inner lip of the superior border of the cricoid cartilage. So it goes like fibers, they go upward and medially. And anteriorly they are attached to the conus elasticus. Conus elasticus, the inner surface of this inner side. So they go up to here. And they also go further up up to the inner lamina of the thyroid cartilage. So here is the attachment of the petiole. Below there is the attachment of vestibular fold, and below the vestibular there are attachment of cricovocal membrane. So it is not a flat structure, but it goes upward fibers and attached to the conus elasticus, and below they are also attached to the inner lamina of the thyroid cartilage as well. So, but its medial border is free. There is a gap. How the air can go if it is flat? So air has to go. So there is a slit-like aperture, or the gap is present in between the two cricovocal membranes. And this medial free border of the cricovocal membrane is popularly known as the vocal cords. This is the vocal cords. And as the mucous membrane is covering it, so it is a hammock-like. Cricovocal membrane attached to the inner lip of cricoid cartilage. So same mucous membrane, it covers the superior surface and goes down into the trachea. So this is the coronal section of the larynx, because below here the cartilaginous rings are coronal section, they are cut. So this mucous membrane is there. So this medial end of the cricovocal membrane covered by mucous membrane is termed as the vocal folds. Like this is the vestibular fold, they are called the vocal folds or vocal cords also. Here the mucous membrane is very strictly attached to the medial border, free border of the cricovocal membrane. There is no submucosa here. So it is very tightly adherent to the medial border, the mucous membrane here, very tightly, because the vibration of these vocal cords or vocal folds will produce the sound. But the superior surface of the cricovocal membrane is having very loosely arranged mucous membrane. So superior surface is having very loose attachment of this. So between the vestibular fold and the vocal fold, sometimes the mucous membrane goes out of it a little bit, or in some animals, howler monkey for example, it goes quite high and it bears the mucus producing glands over the summit of this extension. So this extension is called the saccule of the larynx. This is the saccule, and the gap between the vestibular and the vocal fold is called the sinus of the, this is called the sinus of the larynx. So this evagination of the mucous membrane between the two folds or through the sinus of the larynx determines the pitch of the sound. The howler monkey is having quite high pitch. When he shouts, you can hear up to 3 miles, because his extension or the saccule is quite high. So the length of this saccule depend upon the depth of the voice. The Amitabh Bachchan may be having the much more than this. That's why his voice is very deep. Characteristic voice is maintained by this extension of the mucous membrane lateral through the sinus and goes between the thyroid cartilage inner surface and lateral to this quadrate membrane. So there is a gap between the thyroid lamina inner surface and the quadrate membrane. So this area is called the silent area of the larynx. This is also called the piriform area. Piriform area is called. And whenever there is any cancer growth is there, the detection of the cancer growth is very, very, very late. Usually 4th stage detection is there. Because this is a silent area, any growth from the mucous membrane or the mucosa covering the red one of the thyroid cartilage may having the cancer growth here, or the muscles having the cancer growth. But it is detected very late in stages. So that is the clinical importance of, this is the, my hand is in the piriform fossa. So it is in the above, it is broad, and as we go down it becomes narrow. So this is the piriform fossa, and laterally there is a thyroid cartilage. So this is the piriform area. So this is how we see the cricovocal membrane, the vocal cords. So this is how you have to understand what is larynx, compilation, and after that how it looks after joining them together with the ligaments and the various membranes. Next part we will do the muscles and the other parts in the next class.